Hello and welcome to another episode of the Golden Hour Podcast, brought to you by the Polar Pro Studio. I'm your host, Dave Mays, and today we have a really fun episode. We're actually sitting inside of Zach Mayfield's studio recording space where the Kinotika magic happens, and Zach is my co-host as well as Connor McCaskill, both previous guests of the show, as well as Connor actually used to run this show back in the old days at the Polar Pro Studio in Costa Mesa. In our conversation, we talk about Kinotika getting its first million-viewed video, the log versus baked-in debate, Philip Bloom's birthday, and we have a little mini review of the Minimax from EASYRIG. Is that how you say it? I don't know. All right, without any further ado, let's get into it with Zachy Mayf and Connor McCaskill. Well, we're here. We did it.
We did it.
I'm at your house, and
Hi.
we're doing a new format.
Zach, Dave, and Connor hanging again.
That's right. Say hi, Connor.
Hi, guys.
Connor's behind the camera. You can't see him if you're watching the video, but he will chime in if he has something to chime. So chime away, Connor.
This is me chiming
That's
in.
too much.
Okay, sorry.
So for those of you who have been listening to this show for the last 2 years, this might seem a little different because we've never done a 3-mic kind of setup. We used to have a studio space in Costa Mesa at the Polar Pro Studios.
Which was beautiful.
It was very beautiful. You saw it.
Mm-hmm.
The show has been basically a guest-based show from the very beginning. The idea was to kind of be like Joe Rogan of the camera, news, and like filmmaker space.
Yeah.
And we'll continue to have great interviews with great guests. I love interviewing people. But I'm trying something new today with my good friend Zach, who's actually been on the show
A couple times.
Twice
Yeah.
now. And then Connor's actually been on the show as well. Once.
Yeah, I think once.
The
Yeah.
boys.
Yeah, we should have you on again.
Hello,
As
everyone.
a solo. But this may be a reoccurring format. In addition to, of course, the guest-based segments. If you're not watching the video, I would encourage you to do so right now if you're listening to the audio only, because this is a pretty elaborate setup. We have 3 cameras.
Yeah, we got a C70,
We've got a C70 in the middle.
2 XT4s.
We've got your XT4 and Connor's XT4
Yeah.
to save the day. We're using the Sling Studio box to do a little multicam setup here.
Connor's live editing.
Oh, heck yeah. And yeah, it took me a little longer to set all this up, about an hour and a half or 2 hours or something.
In my room.
I'm sorry about that.
We'll get it.
But yeah, so just bear with us. This is kind of a little bit of a beta test of this new format. And I would love for you guys to let me know your thoughts after you listen to this at Dave Mays on Twitter or on Instagram. And also reach out to Zach and Connor. Follow
Hi.
them as well. But
Check us out.
today's Philip Bloom's birthday.
It is the day we're recording. Philip Bloom turns 50.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
So Philip Bloom is very special to me, and then I want you to share your
Yeah, I would love
story.
to hear your side.
But when I was starting out as a filmmaker, I made a documentary film about my great uncle. His name is Bobby, Uncle Bobby.
Uncle Bobby?
He's like in his 80s, my dad's uncle, and he's just a really eccentric guy. He's never been married, and he was a chemistry teacher, and he was like really into pottery.
Okay.
And as he retired from teaching, he got into pottery, and he got really obsessed with like geometric shapes and doing like icosahedricahedron things and things like that.
What?
And so I'll actually go to my
The Vimeo.
my Vimeo page here so you can see.
Throwing it back.
And yeah, this is the film. It's called Porcellania. I'll turn the music down a little bit. This is a Music Bed song.
That looks good.
But yeah, so that's some of his work that you can see there on my laptop. And I was really, I just kind of made it for my family. I just
Yeah.
made this to kind of document my great uncle's story.
I love that.
And I mean, you can see he's just like, his name's Bobby Jaber. He's like just this really eccentric guy.
Yeah.
And
I like him.
you can tell, that's my family, right?
Mhm.
Of course, my family is eccentric.
Bunch of goobers.
And I posted this out there on Twitter. This was 7 years ago when I made this. And I tweeted Philip Bloom. And I said, hey, Philip Bloom, I shot this on the 7D. I think that's all I said.
Yeah.
And then he retweeted it.
Whoa.
And he said, it was like a quote retweet. And he was like, hey, this is a great mini doc shot on a 7D. And I used the Technicolor CineStyle profile.
Oh, yes.
Which at the time was brand new.
Okay.
7 years ago. And because of Philip Bloom, I got a staff pick on Vimeo.
Dude, that's
So
crazy.
You can see here on the top left, I got that little coveted staff pick logo.
Yep.
which ended up really launching my career as a director. Because of that staff pick, Google reached out to me.
What?
I was only in my early 20s. I had no experience doing anything professional other than just
not know this.
Oh yeah, I was saving it for the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I had no experience in like a professional video space other than just weddings and corporate crap.
Yeah.
And they called me up and they were like, "There's this unrecognized number," and it was like, "Hey, I'm a production company working with Google, and we are sourcing your video as like a reference for what we want to make, and we figured we'd just reach out to you directly to direct a couple of videos. The budget's about $500,000 and it'll be in London and New York and LA." And I'm just like a little Nashville boy with no experience.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, okay." And so they asked me for a treatment. I've never made a treatment in my life.
Yeah.
And that's when I was able to meet Seth Worley, who I had a connection to. Seth Worley from Red Giant and now the owner of Plot Devices, also a guest on this show previously. I reached out to him and he helped me do a treatment and everything. But anyways, long story short, because of Philip Bloom, I got the exposure and got a staff pick.
Yeah.
Which then led to me. I didn't get the job.
Okay.
It was given to another guy with like 30 years of experience,
Yeah.
But it did come down to me and that guy.
That in itself is like so cool, especially early on in your career. That's crazy.
That's exactly it. Like it gave me this confidence and this kind of like, oh, I can do this.
Yeah.
And because of that, I kind of went after it and just started doing music videos and stuff in Nashville. And so yeah, I really have a lot to say about Philip Bloom and the fact that he really helped launch my career in a way.
Yeah.
And I was fortunate enough to get to know him at NAB. Connor, what year was that? Was that 2018?
I think it was 2018. Yeah.
Yeah, we were all there. I was doing a talk for Atomos at NAB, and Philip Bloom was there, and we got to meet him, and I got to share that story on stage.
I want to meet him.
Yeah,
I can't wait to meet him. I can't wait.
NAB, man.
I know.
Hopefully
I can't wait for those. I miss that stuff.
What's really funny to me is Zach, by the way, if you haven't listened to the previous shows with Zach, he's now the new host of Kinotika. I don't even want to say new host because you've been the host almost for a year now.
Yeah, in July it'll be 1 year.
So he kind of took over from where I left off with that and has done an amazing job.
Thank you.
And during that time, Philip Bloom has been like commenting on every video. Seems to be a super fan of Zach.
Oh, it's been crazy.
Just like me. I mean, it doesn't
What a ride.
Doesn't surprise me. I mean, your stuff's amazing. So
thanks, man.
But yeah, tell me your Philip Bloom story.
Okay, yeah. So when I was
by the way, we will have him on this show eventually.
Oh, dude, that's gonna be so fun.
He did tell me he's down.
Wait.
So
so when I was first learning about filmmaking, probably about the time you made this video, Porcellania, I was just absorbing all YouTube content about cameras, tutorials, all that stuff. And Philip was one of the people I found. So basically I just like binged his videos and I was like, oh, this guy is making like super cinematic, like this awesome camera content. It was just so different than everybody else on YouTube. Still is, in my opinion. But yeah, and then like fast forward years and years later, I get this job of Kinotika from you, which is, changed my life because now I get to make YouTube vids in this room. And yeah, I released that Fuji X-T4 in-depth review. That was my first solo video on Kinotika. And freaking Philip Bloom commented on it. And I almost pooed my pants, dude. It was so crazy. I was like, oh my gosh, I've been watching this guy for years. Yeah. And now we're chatting on the internet.
So today is his birthday. And at the time of this recording, May 20th. And you made a little special video for him. Is it live?
I think it's live on my channel. Yeah, I was like, I should wish him happy birthday via the internet. So I just recorded a little video, basically saying what I just said. And I photoshopped his face.
Look at this thumbnail here.
Yeah, hopefully that doesn't freak him out too much.
That is hilarious. Has he commented yet?
I don't know. I don't know if he's seen it, but but yeah, it's goofy. But I just wanted him to feel special, because he's given a lot to the camera community. Like he probably doesn't have to make YouTube reviews, especially at the quality that he does.
Yeah.
Like I just appreciate his effort.
Yeah.
Like if he reviews a drone, he doesn't just say, "Oh, it shoots in 4K up to 30 and flies fast." Like he goes all out and researches everything, gets a ton of footage, and it's insane.
I've asked him before. I was like, "Dude, how do you have time to do that? Like, why do you go to all this trouble?" And he told me that he doesn't see himself as a YouTuber, and he kind of comes from that 10 years ago, right when the 5D happened, and he was actually making videos before that on like DV cameras and the lettuce adapter rig. I don't know if you ever saw those or used those. It's like a camcorder with like a little mirror box that you can put lenses on.
Okay.
The lettuce 35 millimeter adapter. Let's see.
That's crazy. So he's been doing it for so long.
He's been doing these videos forever. So when I first started in filmmaking, this was what my friend Jeffrey was using at the time.
Oh my God.
It was this awful bazooka camera.
We're so blessed now, dude.
Basically, you put the camcorder in the back, and then you use this adapter, which allows you to then put an SLR lens on it. So you have to walk around with this massive lens thing. Let's see.
Just vlogging with it, just casually.
Let's watch his video here. I'm sure. Yep, there it is.
Oh my gosh. It's so crazy to see it. It's still on his channel too. Wow.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. June 6, 2008. I think I was 17 years old back then. So
That's
pretty amazing. But yeah, basically you were able to get like shallow depth of field on a small chip camcorder like this.
That's so cool.
So it was a big deal at the time. But yeah, so he's been doing this forever. See, that's with and without.
Man, I complain about talking about cameras too much in my life, and this man's been doing it for decades.
So Philip like has a background in, news journalism and filmmaking, and so he's not like from that like YouTube generation, I guess.
That's cool.
But he's been on YouTube. He's been making YouTube videos forever, but at least when I talked to him about it, he's like, no, I don't see myself as a YouTuber.
Yeah. I feel like he's the Gandalf of the camera YouTube space.
Yeah.
He's just like who we seek for knowledge and direction.
Totally. So tell me about Kinotika and what's going on over there.
Little Kino update.
Kino, you recently did a review on the GFX 100S.
Yeah, that was fun. I spent some time with that camera and with Connor. We went and shot a bunch of footage and photos with it. We had it for a week and made a review on that. It was really fun. Cool camera. I wouldn't buy it, but still really cool. It's like I feel like it's just a specialty thing.
Can you give us the lowdown on it for our listeners who may not be familiar with the camera?
Yeah. So it's a medium format Fuji mirrorless camera. It has a 102 megapixel sensor, so you shoot these massive, like 11,000 pixel resolution photos in RAW, and you can shoot video in 4K up to 30 frames per second in F-Log, internal 10-bit.
Wow.
So everything coming out of it looks beautiful. It's $6,000, which isn't a ton for medium format.
It really isn't.
But yeah, I made a video on it called 5 Reasons Not to Buy. And me and Connor were just kind of like goofing like here in this studio room. Like the goal was like to help people not be tempted to buy it, because there's better options for video and photo if you're just, posting your videos on Instagram and the internet.
Yeah.
You don't need 102 megapixels.
Yeah.
You can get away with 12.
Yeah.
But that video is getting dunked on in the comments, dude. I think people saw the thumbnail and it says don't buy, and I think people got offended and just like disliking it and slamming on it a little bit.
Well, I've talked to I think we've had him on the podcast. Do we have Lee Zavitz or from Zed Pro Media?
He's cool.
Yeah, I'm almost certain.
Did we have him on? I think we had him on, right? He's a big Fuji guy, and he's told me that like Fuji fans, and if you're a Fuji fan watching this video right now, I apologize, but he has told me like they're pretty bad at
Fuji fans.
Fuji fanboys, aren't they, Connor?
Yeah, I mean they can be a little pretentious sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, that's what was so weird to me about this video's comments, because like, I started the whole Fuji juice thing.
Yeah.
And
you're wearing the hat right now,
dude,
actually.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm wearing the Cranon hat.
Dude, yeah.
ZachMayfield.com, right?
Thanks for repping. Yeah. Anyway,
link in the description.
I've made like 800 videos on the Fuji X-T4, and I always like make jokes in those videos and talk about Fuji juice, and I built like a little community around that of like Fuji memesters. So that's why it was so confusing to me when this video was just getting dunked on.
Yeah.
But maybe it's just like the higher end people, or people wanting to buy this high end camera and getting offended that I joked about it.
Yeah,
but also I don't think people were understanding that I was joking and like being humorous. Like, and also I think people don't watch the whole video. I think they see the title and
just see the title and kind of
just
kill it.
Slam it. I've had great experience with the Fuji fam out there, but who knows? Maybe once you get up into those higher end mirrorless, you just get dunked on.
So what have been some of the highlights for you with Kinotika over the last year or so? I mean, it's been almost a year now. What have been some of your favorite things? What's your kind of takeaways on running this channel that has been focused on just gear reviews and that's it,
Highlights.
Obviously, you and I, the reason that I wanted you to run it was because I feel like we have a similar kind of sense of humor.
Yeah.
And Connor and I always from the beginning tried to make it as entertaining as possible.
Yeah.
And however, in the camera gear review space, and I learned this with Indie Mogul, people they take it really seriously.
Very. I feel like I'm learning that right now. Like, it's especially with these GFX videos, like you can pretend it doesn't bother you, but when people are just slamming on you and you're like actually trying to make something that's helpful and fun, entertaining, it is hard. It's really difficult to like stay motivated sometimes. So I'm learning how to deal with that and continue pressing on and everything. Do you see yourself doing something non-camera gear related, like skits or entertainment type stuff? Dude, that is what the dream is for me.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I never really wanted to be a camera channel. Like, if you go back and look at my personal channel, it's just a mix of like all this random crap.
We did that great skit together.
I know. Just like trying to figure it out. But you really motivated me to like niche down and pursue the camera stuff. And that's when I started to see growth, because it was, consistent and searchable and everything.
Remember this?
Oh my God.
Here,
yeah.
we got to play this real quick.
Oh my gosh. Well, I don't think people can hear it, can they?
They will. Yeah, I'm
okay.
recording
Holy
it.
cow.
This is cringe,
nice.
dude.
This LA YouTube life is nuts.
I miss that
Dave,
apartment.
Just skip to the end.
Yo.
The part of you. Yeah, go to the very end when you jump in. Yeah.
So the premise is you were like changing your name from Zachariah to Zach. And I was like, dude, your name sucks. Change it.
Yeah.
And then I get really frustrated.
Dave, I'm not a third.
You know what? Your channel sucks. Wait, completely sucks.
Where are you going? Where are you going? What are you doing?
Change it to Zach Mayfield.
Where? Okay, I'll change it.
I love the way you end it. It's so Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
Kinda, I don't know if you ever watched that show.
No.
But they would end with a big punchline.
Flip.
They would end with a big punchline at the end of the show, and then straight to like hard. That's killer. It's funny.
That is crazy.
What's funny is I'll just say it here. Like, as I went into the water, my pants definitely pulled down a bit. I was hoping you didn't catch the buttocks part of that.
Oh my God, it's so stupid.
Did you know I was gonna do that? I guess we
talked about you jumping in, but I did not think you're gonna front flip.
And then the pants too. I was channeling the inner like Ethan Klein.
Oh yeah,
for
the
sure.
H3.
I have lost about 8 pounds since then, so that's good.
Proud of you, dude. Very proud of you.
But we've been making stuff forever, man. Look at all these videos of you and me.
Insane.
It's been a fun journey.
But to answer your question, yes, I would love to make stuff that is absolutely not camera related. I've been personally like in this like black hole in my mind trying to brainstorm just like what to make, because it's like I have all these ideas, but then like the YouTube gods strike me down. They're like, that won't work with the algorithm, that won't work with your channel. It's like all these inner voices like kind of silencing my creativity. So I just wrote a script for this like weird kind of fake documentary that I want to make, and I'm gonna shoot it in 2 weeks and see what happens with it. I'm just gonna post it on my channel and hopefully just like enjoy making it and then see what happens.
I've been talking to my friend Jevin Dovey, who he and I call each other regularly, and he is struggling with that as well. He really loves doing like travel vlogs and mini docs and different things like that, and so he's trying to kind of fold that into his normal content by having a camera that you're reviewing and then shooting it. Is that kind of what you're planning on doing? Is kind of like mixing it, or is it just going to be straight?
For this one, I'm not.
Heck yeah.
I'm just going to shoot it, because I thought about like renting maybe like the Pocket 6K Pro and then be like, oh yeah, I can use all the footage for the review. But I don't even want to think about making a camera review.
It's hard to mix the two.
Yeah, it is.
So, I guess if you just didn't think about it and use that camera, you could sort of throw it together, I guess. But Connor, you worked for Armando for the last like year and a half. What was that like, kind of going from Kinotika with me to then Armando? And like you didn't shift genres per se, but in a way it was, because we were kind of covering a lot of the kind of like lower level cameras like the M50, and then boom, you go to like high end filmmaking and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's definitely a way of putting it. We were joking earlier that I can't listen to myself twice here. I'm live switching between the cameras as
Also,
I'm doing
I'm gonna
this.
have to like shoot you.
Connor
Okay,
can just make an
here you go.
animation for himself. and
This
put it
is
on screen.
the backstage iPhone cam. How
We're just
doing?
making Connor's life so hard.
I
right
gotta
now.
edit this now. No, yeah, it was interesting because moving from Kinotika, I had no real experience before Kinotika,
Yeah.
which I think we talked about on the last podcast. But moving from Kinotika, where it was very relaxed, and it was relaxed in terms of quality, even because we didn't really care about how it looked per se.
Yeah.
Dave, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but we cared more about whether or not it was fun and how much information we provided. So
That's the perfect segue for our next topic.
Yeah, I was
when
gonna
you're
say,
done.
that's
Yeah. So, but when I moved over to working with Armando, it's like the first day working for him, we probably spent like 6 hours setting up the lights. And I was like, this is such a waste of time. I didn't understand it, but for his content, it totally makes sense because he's built an audience around quality and having exceptional quality. And he really does.
Yeah, he does.
And he moved into later doing short film productions around camera reviews, and it's really great. If you haven't seen those videos, definitely go check them out because he's really doing something to stand out amongst the rest of the noise, and that's kind of what you guys did as well by bringing entertainment in. It's a way to stand out and just not be like everyone else.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the message that we want to put out there for anybody who's like struggling with YouTube or maybe wanting to start. At the end of the day, like this is a creative like thing, and we want to be doing things that we actually enjoy, right? I mean, so
Yeah.
if you get locked into a certain niche and you don't enjoy it, then that's like literally hell because you're just
Yeah.
in a cycle of the same thing over and over, and it's like your job. And I understand like you do need to make money, like there's smarter, you want to be smart about it, but I think for me personally, taking these last 3 months essentially off from YouTube has been one of the most freeing things because I've been just go review camera stuff for like 3 years.
Yeah.
I've had other ideas, but now that I've been able to kind of stop and think about it, I'm excited about the next steps. And honestly, this show right now, this is like exactly what I was kind of imagining.
Yeah.
The three of us together, goofing off,
So
having
beautiful.
fun, and just talking about stuff we love.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
hopefully you guys are enjoying this Golden Hour podcast.
If you are, smash like.
hit the like button
On your
subscribe,
podcast app.
enable the bell notifications, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that conversation with Connor kind of leads us to the next topic that I want to bring up.
Is it your tweet?
Yeah, so I
Coveted
posted.
tweet.
So Connor does have Twitter, but he barely uses it.
I
Zach
refuse to have it.
refuses, which is totally fine. Like I respect that.
I used to have it and I deleted it.
Shooting log is for people who want to spend twice as long getting the image to look exactly how the standard profile would have looked straight out of camera.
You're just trying to trigger people.
So that was a tweet that I posted. Let's look at that tweet activity. 60,000 impressions. Wow, that's a lot. That's more than normal for me. Yeah.
Controversial, dude.
And then I started seeing all the quote retweets and the comments. I was like, that escalated quickly.
Were people dunking on it?
Yeah, so let's read some of the top responses. So let's see. We got
Dude, I'm just proud of you for even being willing to say that. If that thought would come into my mind, I would never post that.
Tyler Stallman. I don't think so.
That's a good response. It's like
Yeah.
clearly he disagrees, but hey, we're just goofing.
Armando. No. We have let's see. Gerald responded. I'm trying to find his.
Oh
Where
my
is it?
gosh.
Friend of the show. This guy.
Everyone's slamming you.
Gerald is like,
Nah.
Somebody deleted their tweet. Somebody must have said something.
Gosh.
So here's my kind of, I don't want to say backtrack. There was a great one from, I think Sarah Dici was just like, finally somebody said it. Because I know she's on my side. Yeah, someone had to say it.
Yep. That's funny.
So here's the thing. And then I followed that up with another tweet that said,
I'm so sorry for everything I said.
I've almost always shot baked in all my YouTube content for the last 3 years. Even now with the C7, I choose to shoot wide DR to make the workflow faster. I like the clean look of a standard profile and don't like the graded look for YouTube videos, if you know what I mean. I followed that up too with kind of saying like, analyze the top YouTubers, Mr. Beast, Logan Paul, PewDiePie, etc. They all use the baked-in profiles, right?
Yeah.
Because there is this kind of like aesthetic that there is with YouTube content. And I talk about this in my conversation with Hayden Hillier-Smith on this show. If you're a YouTuber and you haven't listened to that podcast, this isn't me just like shamelessly promoting my own podcast. I honestly think it's like it's definitely one of the best podcast interviews I've ever done.
Yeah. And then there was the one with me that was better, for sure.
Yes, and Connor.
Right, those are better.
Close seconds.
Mine was definitely not close.
Hey, everyone, all the camera people, that was a joke.
Yes! Like Crystalia.
Dude, honestly, though, quick sidebar. I've thought about starting to use a laugh track in my videos to teach the serious people when to freaking laugh when something's not serious.
You should film yourself in multiple costumes, just like
laughing,
and then you could just like
then
cut
splice
to
it all together.
A wide,
Green screen it.
That's a great idea. It's actually a good idea. We should do. I definitely want to do a soundboard on this show eventually.
Connor, do you know how to pick up on our jokes so you can just hit the laugh track?
Yeah,
I could try.
Sure.
I could
I
do
just
it.
have it going the whole time.
All right, Connor, you're a really cool guy.
But
That's when the laugh.
Yeah,
track
laugh
cuts
right
in.
So-
Right there.
You weren't serious.
So back to the log versus baked in. Now, obviously, I understand the value of log and what it is. And for those of you listening who are maybe photographers and you sort of know what log is, you've seen it on your camera, like a super flat profile, I'll just explain it to you. Basically, log is kind of the closest thing that videographers can get to RAW without having RAW, because it's all of the dynamic range of the sensor in one image. It doesn't add anything in camera. It doesn't add like contrast, sharpness. Of course, this is all generalities. Not all logs are created equal.
True.
That should be like a t-shirt or something. But the general rule of thumb is that it's essentially the raw data from the sensor without it being raw, obviously, so that you can pull the highlights down. You could, pull the blacks down. You could adjust different things, add the saturation you want, add the sharpness that you want. And filmmakers really like it because, if you're shooting a really high dynamic range scene, like say somebody sitting in front of a window, if you shoot baked in, which means like the standard profile, which is a really crunchy, saturated image,
It'll clip those highlights.
it'll just clip the highlights. It'll look overblown and oversaturated. And the highlights will be totally blown out. So by shooting log, you can kind of in post, color grade the person sitting in front of the window, and then maybe add like a window to like a mask that pulls the highlights down or something. You can kind of play around with it and do a lot more in post. What was that?
That was a small earthquake.
That's dynamite.
Yeah.
It has to be dynamite.
I don't know where the dynamite is. But we've been getting mini earthquakes quite a bit.
Oh my goodness.
Kind of scary.
Yeah, you obviously didn't feel it, but there was a rumbly
Connor will add camera shake.
I'm pretty sure that
Sure, more work. No.
So I used to shoot log everything, and when I became a YouTuber, we were starting on the 1DC. Remember that, Connor?
Oh yeah.
The 1DC, still one of my favorite cameras ever. And we actually did usually shoot and log on that one because the log was pretty easy to play with. But once we started doing more stuff with like the Nikon cameras and the Sony cameras, and certain things started getting better and better, I would use the EOS HD profile on the Sonys. On the Nikon Z6, I really loved the what was it? I think they call it natural profile, maybe.
Yeah, something like that.
I really love that. The GH5 has a great built-in one. I think it's called natural as well.
Yeah, that's natural.
And I was just like, I'm literally grading my log footage to just look exactly how this baked-in footage looks.
Yeah.
Why am I going to all this trouble? And at the time, I was using a really cruddy computer. I had like a base model 2016 13-inch. It was like 8 gigs of RAM. And
Can I give my opinion on your tweet, Dave?
Yeah.
So I think your tweet is a kind of a blanket statement. So I think you have to dissect it a little bit. It's a great tweet in the fact that it got a lot of responses. That was awesome.
Well,
and I think
that's
it's
the
funny.
point. That's the point of tweets, right?
Yeah, exactly. Not everything's so serious. But I think it's definitely probably true for most content creators that are just making content. Like if you have a gaming channel, why would you shoot in log?
Exactly.
You're sitting in front of your Xbox, whatever. But like kind of what Connor said for Armando's channel, his whole channel is built on this audience of quality lovers and stuff.
Yeah.
So he probably wants to maximize that. And like people who are reviewing tech or cameras or whatever, they probably want it to look as pristine as possible.
Yeah.
Because I will admit, when I see a channel that's really well produced and they're talking about technology, I'm like, oh, okay, these guys probably know what
Totally.
they're doing, because I understand that they're putting in this extra time to get this quality up.
Totally.
So they're probably knowledgeable in some way.
So
But I think it depends on who your audience is and what kind of like content you're creating.
100%. Can I rebuttal that?
Dude, just destroy it, please.
So when I started doing weddings, we would bake it all in, obviously, because we were shooting on 7Ds and 5Ds at the time, and they didn't even have log on those
Yeah.
cameras. And I really got really good at like dialing in white balance and learning about white balance shift, which a lot of people don't use, which is when you shift into the magentas and the greens and things. And we started just literally adding saturation and contrast in camera, and we would do same day edits for weddings, and there was no color correction.
That's crazy.
Ever. We never color graded anything or
Yeah.
color corrected anything. And I just got so like hooked into that workflow, and I hear you for sure. And but if you look at like the way filmmaking was done prior to digital, different film stocks had their own like picture profiles essentially.
Yeah.
And cinematographers would choose the film stock based on the grade that they wanted. Color grading really isn't a thing until digital.
Yeah.
I think Oh Brother, Where Art Thou is the first digital color grade film.
But they still colored film.
They would push and pull things. They would
Yeah.
do different things to it, 100%. And you obviously have a lot of dynamic range with that. But basically, when a cinematographer was done shooting it and the film was developed, he would tell them how to develop it. It was baked in. Like the editors just kind of had it. They didn't like, especially way back in the day when there were no computers. So
But they were still color grading. It was just a different order of operation.
but they were working within the restrictions of what I feel in a modern sense is a baked-in profile. Now here's my rebuttal. If you expose properly and you're in a set like this where we have lights and we're able to adjust things and you're able to work within your dynamic range window of a picture profile that you want to use, I feel like you don't necessarily need log, because the point of log is to save certain things. But if you save it while you're shooting it, in the sense that like you just bring the light down or you adjust things, then you get that to a point where you can then color grade. There's a difference between color correction and color grading and LUTs and all that type of stuff. Color grading to me is adding a look to your image, like pulling the shadows to green or orange teal, right? Like the famous Hollywood grade. You basically need to get your image to like a point where it's fixed or corrected, and then you like color grade on top of that, right? Like you throw a LUT on to fix the log, and then you can tweak it, and then you add a grade on top of that.
Yeah. But
So-
if you're still doing something in post, you can argue the exact same thing for shooting in log. Like you can expose it perfectly, build your own LUT, which is what I do, and it takes me 2 seconds to drop it on. And then I have more dynamic range, which I like the look of.
Yeah.
And I can make it have a little bit of a look, because I have a little bit of a look for my style of videos too. So
Yeah.
I mean,
it looks
if you
great.
get good at it, you can do it extremely fast.
Yeah. And I don't think there's a wrong way to do it either. I'm just leaning into more of like what I'm seeing on YouTube, and that is the fact that like there's kind of this relatability factor to it looking kind of cruddy. You know what I mean? Like,
No, totally. It looks more homemade.
and Mr. Beast has talked about it. I've listened to some interviews where he's like, yeah, we could have a film crew, but then it wouldn't feel relatable. He's like, I have all these like shooters and we give them crappy cameras and we don't shoot 4K. We shoot 1080 because it looks funny. Like, PewDiePie, absolutely. Like, I know that's like the biggest one.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you that it's intentional. Like,
Yeah.
I know he's talked about, I'm trying to fix it, guys, but like, I don't think he is really trying to fix it. Like, it's obviously kind of cruddy. So anyways, that's my rant on log versus baked in.
Proud of you.
I like shooting baked in because it just makes life a little faster
For you.
for me. You can still add a LUT to it. Yeah, I understand that, but I don't know. I don't want to.
If you find what works for you, that's all that matters.
The standard profile on the new Sony cameras is really a lot better than it used to be.
Yeah. Also, the S-Cinetone profile is sick.
And that's kind of like a nice happy in between.
Yeah, it's like basically S-Log3 pre-graded, slightly less dynamic range, but it looks awesome.
Yeah,
it's
so
a really good live stream profile.
Totally. So, EASYRIG, the EASYRIG Minimax. I have one over here. Have you used the EASYRIG before?
Yeah, I've used the EASYRIG on a lot of commercials and music videos. Like the past couple years, I was shooting a lot of that kind of stuff with the Red Dragon 6K, which is a heavy son of a gun, and we were using like Atlas anamorphics and heavier lenses, and the EASYRIG was sick. It just added like a nice, stable look to the handheld style of filming.
So
Dave's pulling it out, everybody. He's getting wild.
It for show and tell here. Also, now's a good time to acknowledge the fact that we're wearing the exact same shorts.
We are, pretty much.
Basically.
Mine are slightly shorter and on Amazon.
So, for those of you listening, you're missing out on the beautiful visual of this.
Please keep that on for the rest of the show.
A lot of okay. A lot of people say this looks like you're a donkey and you have like a carrot on a string, you know, kind of a thing.
I always had people saying I look like Iron Man or something, like a soldier outfit.
So this is kind of, because I don't review stuff on YouTube anymore, this is kind of like my review.
Yeah.
I love this thing, and
I don't like this clip though. We always use the latch that would go around this like circular bar clamp, and so my buddy Kevin had that exact same clamp, and it slipped off of his camera's top handle and popped him in the upper eye.
Oh my goodness!
And his eye was like,
what popped off?
It slipped off the top handle of the camera.
Oh,
this thing, and
okay.
popped him in the eye.
So
he has like a clamping one now that you have two latches that unclamp it. So just be careful.
So I'm gonna use your camcorder as a demonstration. So if you're watching the video, you can see this. There's a little hook and a string attached to it. And this isn't how it was supposed to work, but basically you have your camera handle attached to this thing. And I've been using it with the C70 with the 16 to 35 and the top handle, and I'm using the Rode Wireless Goes for my, this thing's like, oh, is this
it's broken.
Completely broken?
Yeah, my sister dropped it in the ocean.
Oh, nice. So the great thing about this is, like, I think the weight for this one, this is the Minimax, it can hold from, I think, 6 pounds to like 20 pounds or something.
That's perfect.
Which is a perfect kind of, that's how much for the C70 weight is on the low end. But you could even put a red on it. And basically the problem is, like, I love the handheld look these days. I think there was a stigma with it back in the day, like, especially with DSLRs, because the rolling shutter was so bad. You never wanted to just hand hold it. You wanted to put on a shoulder rig or something.
Well, they're so light too that the handheld look a lot more jittery.
Yeah.
I like shooting handheld with something like a Red because the extra weight of the camera and the lens, it's more of a smooth handheld.
Absolutely.
Where it's not so jittery and anxiety inducing.
And one solution is to do a shoulder rig, which a lot of people have used before, and I've used multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem with shoulder rigs is those are also heavy in their own right, and it can really, like, you kind of have to like look at a EVF or something, and the ergonomics can be weird, and it gets really heavy and painful on your shoulder, and it's not as flexible and as quick and nimble as just holding the camera. And as like a YouTuber, I've gotten so used to just like using a camera with IBIS, shooting slow-mo, handheld, you know, on a GorillaPod potentially, but just like running and gunning. And I love that workflow. I've become really used to it. And the C70 is small enough to do that, but I'm doing 8-hour shoots now with my new job.
Yeah.
And after an hour, I'm like already fried because that camera weighs 6 pounds, which still isn't a lot for a cinema camera, but it is a lot when you're holding
8
it
hours,
for 8 hours.
Exactly.
And so we picked this thing up. This is the lower end one. And I had a Chinese made one. I forget the company. I think it was Flowtech, actually.
Okay. I've heard of that.
And it was a little cheaper. And do you know that saying, like, you get what you pay for?
Yeah.
Like, it was true. It was okay, but it just, they cut too many corners. It wasn't comfortable. I don't recommend it. So we spent the money. I think this thing's like $1,300.
Yeah, they're expensive.
It's not cheap. But I used it for 11 hours this last Saturday in Charleston, and I used the C70 the whole time. The only thing that happened was I got a little hot because you know it
makes your back sweat for
It's a
sure.
beefy, sweaty backpack.
But yeah, it distributes all the weight into your back, so it's a lot easier on your hands, your wrists. My wrist would always hurt when I would shoot handheld for hours, like you're saying.
Yep.
But that just like totally puts all the weight distributed through your back, and it's great. Look at that form.
Yeah, you can do all sorts of fancy things. You can do like a move with it. It goes, you know, in all directions, and it takes all the weight out. Yeah, there's like a spring action thing in the back.
So you can tighten the
You can
resistance.
tighten it, loosen it, all sorts of things. Highly recommend it, and I definitely recommend going with the EASYRIG over anything else. This is the company that like invented this thing. It's made in Sweden. It's just really high quality stuff. This is the like lower end version because they have like a bunch of other ones that are used in Hollywood all the time. Those are real expensive. This is definitely more than enough for people like us.
Yeah.
So I highly recommend it.
Depending on the model with the arm and stuff, you can mount like Movi Pros or the big Ronins on them and get even smoother gimbal footage too.
Yeah.
That's what we would do for some music videos. It was sick.
I think the only kind of caveat is it's actually not as smooth as just holding it handheld when you walk, because your body kind of naturally creates like a have you ever seen like a chicken's head, you know, when you move it, it's like, so your hands kind of do that.
I feel like it's smoother.
The when I walk, this kind of goes up and down a little bit, so I get kind of up and down.
It might be because the C70 is so light.
Maybe
it probably depends on how much weight you have on there.
So you had good luck with just walking with it?
Oh, it was way smoother when I was using the red. But we used pretty heavy lenses too.
Cool.
So it was hard to just do it with hands only and be stable.
Yeah.
But that's cool, man.
That's a little mini review.
Yeah.
So it's been a couple of years. Connor and I made this video about the M50. Let's see where it's at now.
Oh, we're always talking about.
So this stupid camera, we can't get away from it. We can't escape it.
Yeah.
We made a video together, and that video already has 167,000 views.
The M50 just pulls mad views no
And
matter when.
The one that Connor and I made 2 years ago now is going to be the first video with 1 million views on Kinotika.
That's so crazy.
It's at 968,600. Posted that May 26th. Oh my goodness. May 26th,
3 years
2018.
ago. That's so wild.
So that's literally like almost exact from the time of this recording.
You guys are officially a viral sensation in the
I don't know about
M50
that.
community.
Look at this. Look at this.
And now I film there all the time.
Yeah.
It's such a good spot. Dave showed me this spot in Nashville called the Gaylord Opry Resort.
Opryland Hotel, yeah.
Yeah. And it's got really cool backgrounds, good lighting because the top windows make the light a little softer. It's a good spot for some B-roll.
And you get all the greenery and all sorts of things like that. It's awesome. But yeah, this M50, if you're an M50 user, let us know. Connor, you used to own an M50. What's your...
I did too.
What's kind of your...
I think I bought the M50 because of our review.
Yeah.
Actually.
You may have.
And I bought the XT3 because of our review.
You're very influenced by your own work.
Yeah. So,
it's awesome.
Well, it's actually great because I got to like almost preview cameras before buying them.
But yeah, the M50, like we ended up making, I think, like 5 or 6 reviews on it. And I think you've even...
I've made like 2 or 3 videos on it.
And what's funny too is like we were talking about just current, Kinotika stuff. I was like, I don't know, dude, just make an M50 video. Just,
I have that in the plans right now. Yep, I'm going to work on that. I'm also going to make a 90D video because that went really well on my channel before I got Kinotika. Camera. So I'm going to do like M50 in 2021 and 90D in 2021.
There's just something about Canon that...
It just pulls the views.
It's insane, man. It's still like... It's the biggest camera company, I believe. And Sony is about to, get to that point. But
yeah,
from what I heard last, like Canon is still number one by a pretty large margin.
Yeah.
That's why they're kind of arrogant about their decisions. It's like,
we need it.
We don't really need to make these better. People buy them.
We're making money without putting in effort. But they're starting to do better, I think.
Yeah.
Like the R5 and the R6 are both really cool.
With those mini HDMI jacks.
Yeah. I know, right?
We were just talking about that with Connor, how Armando was like obviously a huge Canon guy.
Oh yeah, huge Canon guy. Although apparently he was a Sony guy before I joined him.
I'm a Sony boy now.
Yeah, that's interesting. But yeah, he was using the C200 when I joined. Then we went to the C500. We used the 5D Mark IV, the Canon EOS R, the R5. And I think he's rocking the R5 right now, although he did make a video
He's switching to Sony.
that he's making a switch to Sony.
Ooh.
We'll see.
I don't know that I believe it.
We'll see.
No,
Maybe he is. Maybe he is. Sony's a really tempting company. I mean, they're really putting out a lot of good stuff.
The thing that has really impressed me with Sony is they really seem to be listening to like what we want.
Yeah.
Because the A7S III
That is my dream camera.
it's
dude.
kind of the perfect camera.
It's so
it,
sick.
It really is. And yeah, Connor, are you gonna buy an A7S III?
No, not a chance.
He's a Fuji boy all the way through.
He's got the Fuji X-T4.
If I had the money right now, I would definitely snag the R5.
It's
Okay.
sick.
Yeah,
It's really cool.
and this is no disrespect to anyone who likes Sony. It doesn't jive with me. I've been using the A7S III with Zach on occasion, helping him shoot some videos, and I don't connect with that camera, and that's really important to me. Is the connection to the camera. The R5, I had that connection, even though it has problems. Maybe I just like cameras with problems.
Yeah. Or
Like-
maybe you don't have a full HDMI input on your body. So
Yeah.
that's why you can't connect. It's probably
It's-
my fault.
Oh yeah, that is.
So you gotta
oh,
use
boy.
Canon.
Yeah, that is
Laugh
that is-
track.
That is
It's a
yep,
joke.
laugh track right there.
So yeah, there's actually a rumor about the EOS RC. Have you heard about this?
Oh, the R5C?
Yeah, so there's a
It's
rumor.
a color edition.
Yeah, it's got color. That's what C stands for. If you guys weren't aware, the R5 is black and white.
Right,
only.
yeah. You have to add the color.
But no, it's supposed to do like, kind of what the A7S III does, in that it's a cinema camera with unlimited recording, with more pro features, with a fan built in, so you don't have the overheating issues.
So it's an R5 with a fan?
I think so. Yeah.
Because I was going to say, the R5 already does everything.
The R5 is really good for
And it has-
video.
Yeah. It's better for photos, too. Because, well, I guess if you need more resolution.
Yeah. I mean, how have you been with the 12 megapixels on the A7S?
It's been fine because, like, after you shoot a thumbnail, which is all of my photography work is YouTube thumbnails, it just gets demolished anyway.
Yeah.
Like, once you export a JPEG under 2 megabits or megabytes.
Can you talk to me about thumbnails? Like, has that been an enjoyable experience being a YouTuber? Is that
It's
not
just
or what?
funny. It's just funny how, like, I had to learn the thumbnail game. It's a whole different version of photography.
Yeah.
Like, you have to make it super saturated and poppy and very easy to look at. So, like, and Connor's actually helped me too, like, by looking in my analytics. I hate analytics. It stresses me out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it stresses me out. But we learned that, like, the best thumbnails for Kinotika's channel is, like, the centered product shot and sometimes, like, a centered product shot with my face in it. Like,
Yeah.
those two usually work pretty well. And then I just try to do that, make it really easy to see, make it clear, saturated, and then I just upload it and don't look at the analytics because, it's overwhelming.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's because I love the game aspect of it. I
Yeah.
really do love the
You're great at
analytics.
that.
And I don't know. I just, when I find something, kind of get really into it and obsessed. you
Yeah.
know? Even this Golden Hour podcast channel, I'm like, are the subs up?
Yeah.
Is the viewership up on the podcast?
Yeah, if I obsess about that stuff, it really hinders my creativity. My favorite
Yeah.
part is just like scripting a video and then shooting. It's fine, but I love editing too. So scripting and editing is like my favorite part.
So you script it? Do you read a prompter and stuff?
Yeah, I script Kinotika videos. I script everything, and occasionally I'll like improv a joke or a bit or something. But yeah, that way I can be informative and not mess stuff up. I still mess stuff up even when I'm scripting somehow, but yeah, that's my process. That's how I operate better, I think.
I've been recently like really obsessed with guitars. It's like it's always my like default, like when I'm kind of not feeling it creatively. Like
Dude,
I
agree.
I go to the guitar
Mm-hmm.
because it's just a completely different outlet.
It's peaceful for me.
And you're a guitarist, way better than me. You were in a heavy metal band,
I was.
or not heavy metal, metal,
It was like a blend of metalcore.
metalcore.
Yeah.
But that type of music is really loud. So get ready. Earth Groans, if you want to check it out, you can see
Yeah.
Zach rocking out. But yeah, I mean, you can do the
It's funny because I'm not even that good in terms of the metal world. Like some of my friends that are in bands, like, dude, they make me look like a doofus.
How were you able to like keep up then? Like
our music
just
wasn't
rhythm based more.
I'd say like
chuggy.
I'm really solid like with just like the mechanics, like the fundamentals. Like if you're playing basketball, like I'm good at dribbling.
Yeah.
But like these dudes are like dunking basically. You know what I'm saying? So I was able to keep up because our music wasn't super intricate and it was fun. I was more of a good performer, like movement on stage and stuff. But yeah,
that's what makes you a great YouTuber too, is the performance background. So.
Thanks, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, but I've I got a Les Paul, and we were gonna do a segment here today, but I think we'll have to save it for the next time.
Yeah, maybe we'll prep a little song.
Yeah.
Maybe we could do like an intro outro song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Golden Hour Bipolar Bro
Podcast. With Dave and Zach and Connor and 3 cameras and 3 microphones.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, guitar is a good escape for me too, because I don't perform anymore, and I do miss that. But if I'm stressed out about stuff, I'll just pick up the acoustic, go sit on my porch, drink some coffee or tea, and just strum. And it's just like my anxiety just floats into the air with the musical notes.
Without the guitar, you would have
Nathan.
Nothing. I did buy a Mavic Mini. Is that what they're calling it now? Or Mini 2?
It's the Mini 2. It's no longer a Mavic Mini, I guess.
Yeah,
I think.
I reviewed it on Indie Mogul and really loved it because, again, I'm all about that baked in life.
Yeah, for real. And it does look good.
It looks good.
Shoots in
baked
4K.
in. Shoots 4K. It's got the OcuSync. That thing is teeny tiny too. It's like it could fit in this coffee mug.
Yeah.
And I've just been kind of playing around with it with my kids and filming like my house. And
it's a great dad drone.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
It's the perfect dad drone and the perfect YouTuber drone.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a bunch of drones now.
I know. Well, kind of got rid of them
Kinotika.
because we did that DJI FPV giveaway a couple weeks ago.
Did he meet up with you, by the way?
No, it didn't work out, so I just shipped it to him, and he got it, and that was really fun. We did this competition where people submitted their short films for 60 seconds.
Yeah.
And we got to review them live and give the drone away. It was a blast.
Heck yeah, it was awesome. And but yeah, you've got the FPV, you've got the Air 2.
Yeah, the Air 2 is my main. Well, that's actually my only drone now.
Okay.
I sold the other ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
I
Air
like
2
the
is
Air
pretty
2.
solid. Yeah.
Yeah.
If I had the money, I would have. But I mean, the Mini 2 is only $500 for the whole kit with like a bunch of batteries and stuff.
Yeah.
And the Air 2 is like $1,000. So I was like, eh.
The Air 2S is pretty sweet looking.
Yeah.
Philip Bloom's video on that is wonderful.
Oh yeah.
God, he makes that camera on the drone look so good, dude.
Yeah.
Crazy.
He's the best. Happy birthday, Philip.
Happy birthday, Philip. Dr. Phil. I call him Dr. Phil.
Dr. Phil. The M1 Mac. You
Ooh.
and Connor both have one. Is that right?
Yes.
Connor.
Yes.
We're
absolutely.
all M1 Mac users now.
I have a Mac Mini M1 maxed out, and then the laptop on this table is a M1 MacBook Air.
Oh, nice.
And you have the Pro.
Yeah, me and Connor both have the M1 MacBook Pros. His has more storage, but I decided to go for the maxed out specs with the lowest storage capacity because I do everything externally. I have some fast SSDs that I just take with me. And dude, it's been outperforming my 2017 iMac that was completely maxed out. It was a quad-core Intel i7 with 64 gigs of RAM. And the MacBook Pro is like, I don't know if I would say it's smoking it, but it's like obviously better.
Yeah.
Even though Premiere's not optimized yet. If they optimize it, dude, it's going to slam.
Although I think technically the beta for Premiere does take advantage of the M1 silicon. It's just when it's the beta, you have the potential of things going wrong.
Yeah, that makes me nervous, but I will probably download it and try it because I just got it a couple days ago.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm the only like full-time Final Cut editor over here.
Yeah, you're living that good life though.
And boy, is it nice. I had a maxed out 16-inch. I spent over $3,000 on that thing in 2019.
Yeah.
And that was like to date the best computer I've ever owned. Like it was really good. And this MacBook Air outperforms it.
It's like $1,200.
Yeah.
Or whatever, just smoking it.
With an asterisk, when I'm editing, the M1 Mac outperforms my maxed out, very beefy like video laptop.
Yeah.
When I'm exporting, it doesn't outperform it.
Correct.
Because the M1 Mac is still. Here's the thing that blows my mind. All the computers that we own that we're like saying is great it's still a prosumer computer.
Yeah.
They still haven't even announced the like pro version
Yeah.
of the Apple Silicon.
I don't think I'll even get it. 'Cause I don't need it for what I'm doing.
Yeah, so my Mac Mini is pretty much the exact same as your MacBook Pro. And when you have that thing beefed out with the 16 gigs of RAM and the 8-core M1, it is great. Like, it's so solid and reliable.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know if I really, really honestly need it, especially for the type of stuff I do, baking in everything.
Yeah. Honestly, though, like if
But
you
no,
find
seriously.
a workflow, it works. So what's your opinion on the new M1 iMacs versus your Mac Mini? Because internally, they
Yeah.
are essentially the same. The
I'm
iMac just has a screen.
I'm still pro Mac Mini for myself
Okay.
because I have a monitor that I really like. It's a 4K, very color accurate. It was actually, Connor, you remember, I traded my Contax Zeiss vintage lenses
Yep.
for this. It's a $1,500 monitor.
Oh, wow.
That Armando traded me.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And those lenses, we used them on occasion, but I was really happy to use them again. I love those lenses.
Yeah, those lenses. That's a whole nother topic. Vintage lenses. Maybe we could do a vintage lenses
That'd be sick.
episode.
And shoot everything on vintage lenses
That's
because
a
we
good
have enough probably.
You guys have the
I have two we have two Helios. Zach and I have one.
yeah.
each.
And but yeah, I traded it. It was a great trade because the value of those lenses were like $600 or something, and he gave me. It might be a little more than that, but
I think it's more.
okay. But it was still. I think I got the better end of the deal in terms of the money side. But I think he was given the monitor or something.
Gotcha.
But it's a really great monitor, and I like that I have Ethernet, 2 Thunderbolts, and 2 USB-A ports.
Mm-hmm.
The new iMacs only have 4 USB-C ports.
Yeah.
Which isn't bad.
But actually, the new iMac, the base model iMac has 2.
Yeah, you're right.
So you actually have to pay, I think it's a couple extra $100
Mm-hmm.
to get those extra USB ports, which is just the Apple way.
But
And-
it's still way cheaper than their old stuff. My
100%.
older iMac was over $4,000.
Yeah. And,
And
I
these-
guarantee it outperforms it, right?
Yeah.
So-
Oh, easily.
But again, we're still like these new iMacs are consumer products. They're
Yeah.
designed to be in somebody's kitchen or like, you know, if you're walking into like a massage parlor and like they have like very muted tones and like
Yeah.
you know a water fountain.
So specific.
you put that like peach colored you know iMac in there. It'll look great.
For sure.
We still don't like. There's no space gray version, so obviously there's no pro
Yeah.
version.
So they're obviously going to be making pro versions of all the new M1 stuff.
Yeah. Also, the new iMac is the smaller screen size. It's only 24 inches.
Yeah. I was just about to say I'm very much missing my 5K 27-inch screen, but I'm kind of glad I don't have it anyway because I'm looking for a 144 hertz 4K monitor that I
Nice.
can use for both editing and gaming.
Because you have a gaming PC too, right? Or
No,
your Xbox.
Yeah, I just have an Xbox, but I'm waiting for the new Xboxes to be available, and I'm gonna snag
Oh, okay.
the Series X for sure. So
Cool.
it'll all work together once I have that monitor.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, I mean, LG makes that 5K display, which is essentially the iMac display. You could buy it separate, but I mean, it's like $1,200 or something.
Yeah.
So
They have a 4K 144 hertz. It's like 1,200 or maybe it's 900. I can't
Okay.
remember. It's expensive, but
yeah.
it's kind of worth it because I'm gonna use it every day for work.
So if anybody is like on the fence about the M1 and you're not doing like a cinema level VFX work or
Yeah.
a bunch of red, I know for a fact red does not play well with M1.
Really?
Yeah, I did one of my last videos for Indie Mogul was the C70 versus the Red Komodo.
Mm-hmm.
And I was on the M1 Mac and it was really struggling
Okay.
with R3D.
R3D was so smooth on my Intel.
Mhm.
It was great, like that Dragon 6K footage.
I think it's just not because of the GPU in it. GPU for people who are computer illiterate, that's like graphics basically. And the graphics card on this is integrated and it's not like the best. So, but the reason it's so snappy is because basically the M1 Mac is Apple designed chip, and so everything just works together so beautifully.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the person that makes the software also makes the entire computer.
Yeah.
So it's just so seamless and so great. And we don't see this type of like technological leap in speed and performance really that often.
And it's surprising to see the low cost, which is new for Apple. which
Yeah.
is awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm diggity down for it.
I can't wait for the Pro line and
Yeah.
see what that's going to look like. In the meantime, I'm happy with the Mac Mini, and I'll remind myself of that when it comes out. I'm like, oh, I want the Pro.
Yeah, I know, right? It'll be so enticing.
So yeah, I think that that concludes this version of the Golden Hour podcast.
Hopefully you guys like it. It was very fun to do. Got the boys together.
This was fun having the three of
Yeah.
us. Did you like it, Connor?
Oh yeah, I had a great time.
Connor's over here, by the way. You can see on my iPhone shot, he's got the
Apple Pencil, dude.
he's got the Sling Studio,
That's
which
slick, baby.
is really cool.
Very nice.
He's
Oh,
basically
nice zoom.
yeah, he's basically changing
The only downside to it is that I have an AirPod in. I'm listening to the audio and myself at like a 4-second delay. If you've ever seen those videos where like someone hears themselves and tries to talk, I'm actually surprised how well I'm able to talk right now.
Actually, you're speaking a different language right now. You just don't know
It's
it.
unbelievable. We got Dave on the BTS camera, but it's very difficult to do. So, but this is a Sling Studio small review. Pretty good.
Heck yeah. So yeah, thank you guys for sticking around here. Let me know on social media what you think of this new format. I think this could be a lot of fun if we like actually had a real studio that we could
Yeah, we'll
like,
get there.
just
Maybe,
leave
maybe not.
set up.
We'll see.
Also, we had a little bit of growing pains or like trying to remember how to set all this up. So it did take a little longer
We got
than,
it, though.
than it should.
Have
So,
fun editing, Connor.
Yeah, this will be fun.
Thank you.
That's pretty much edited. You just got to add the iPhone stuff.
Yeah, the iPhone stuff, and then the audio from your computer, and then, go in and tidy it up. Because that's the beauty of the Sling Studios. It's already pre-edited. I just gotta fix any of the misclicks I had.
Exactly.
Thanks, everybody, for watching. Appreciate
Yeah.
you.
So subscribe if you haven't already to the Golden Hour podcast. Subscribe to Kinotika as well as Zach's personal channel.
Thank you so much.
And then Connor also has a YouTube channel.
Yes.
He recently posted a video on the GFX as well that's doing really well.
Is it getting dunked on?
No, everyone loved it.
Nice. Great.
I think
Congrats,
I have only
man.
one dislike.
So
But
You're going to have
also-
two when I'm done with this podcast.
it's actually kind of weird. I'm now the only person here who doesn't have a review channel.
Yeah, what the heck?
No, it's cool. Yeah, thanks guys for being here. Happy birthday, Philip Bloom, and we'll talk to you next week.